So what should you expect from your bankruptcy attorney? How should they behave? What kind of information should they be providing for you? For a lot of folks, they've never worked with an attorney before. So we created this video to show you what you should expect from your bankruptcy attorney and, well, honestly, any attorney that you hire. So let's face it, attorneys have a bad name. It's always so funny when I meet with clients and they are shocked because they say, wow, you were nice. I mean, most of my attorney friends are actually really nice people. I see them with their clients and they're great. They care about their clients. So, you know, there's a lot of really good attorneys out there. Unfortunately, some of the bad ones do give us all a bad name. But I did this video so you know really what you should expect from, you know, in my case, a bankruptcy attorney, but really any attorney in general. So I think probably number one complaint that you're going to hear about attorneys is they don't return phone calls. Oh, I call my attorney and nobody calls me back. Nobody calls me back. So that's what you always see. I'll see it online. I'll have people call me and they're complaining about their previous attorney or something like that. So of course that is a valid complaint. And we live in an age now that we have email, we have text. So I mean, voicemail is really kind of going the way of the dinosaur. But anyway, with that said, you always need to remember that your attorney could be in court. They could be with other clients, and hopefully you're not the only client. Of course, there are important things that you want to talk with your attorney about. So I think one of the things you need to expect is when you meet with your attorney, you need to make sure that they set your expectations and you know, okay, well, if my attorney isn't available right now, can I speak with their assistant and they can schedule a time so I can talk to my attorney so that I get my concerns resolved. For me personally, I always tell my clients, if you can email me, you can text me, that's the fastest way you're going to get me during the day because I could be in court. I cannot pick up my phone when I'm in the middle of a courtroom and talk to a client. But if you email me, even when I'm sitting there in court, I can respond. Of course, every attorney is different, so it just depends. And of course, sometimes, you know, if a client emails me at 6:30 in the evening, yeah, I might not get back to them until the next morning. But I definitely think you do need to make sure when you meet with an attorney that you do have your expectations set correctly and find out what's their policy. Obviously, you know, attorneys usually always have an assistant, a paralegal, so find out, you know, what's their contact information or whatnot so that if you have something that comes up, you can get someone. For us, for our office, you know, we have folks available from 8:30 until 6:30. So anybody should be able to call our office and speak to a human being if they have a question. And of course, email, we love email, we love text because it's just the way people communicate these days. But in terms of communication, I think that's the number one complaint you're going to hear about attorneys. So you do need to expect that your attorney will respond to you, and hey, it may not be the same day. It's always kind of funny. Someone will call maybe at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then by lunchtime they've called 3 times, and they said, "Oh, I've called 3 times." Yes, but you've called 3 times in the same day. And like I said, we all have assistants, a paralegal, someone that can respond immediately if we happen not to be available. So sometimes it's just kind of a common sense thing, but obviously, you know, if you have an attorney that's not responding to your emails, that you can't get a hold of anyone, that is the most frustrating thing in the world. And I realize, especially in bankruptcy, it's a very stressful process. So my suggestion is just make sure that you know what your attorney's policy is on calls, on emails, on text, and who their assistants are, so that if they're not available, you can grab somebody. I think the second complaint that you're going to hear a lot about attorneys and that you need to definitely speak with your attorney about is how attorneys keep their clients up to date on their cases. And sometimes this can be a little complicated because honestly, a lot of times there's really nothing going on that the client needs to be updated on, but clients can get antsy, and we understand that, or at least our firm understands that. Especially, and for instance, for our Chapter 7 cases, we file the case, everything's prepared, we go to court, we get our reaffirmation agreements to the client, but then we have about 90 days where we're just waiting for the discharge. And I tell my clients, sometimes I have to remind them more than once, but that's the most aggravating part, is you're just waiting. And so, there is no update. We're just waiting for the discharge. But I do think it's very, very important that as attorneys, that we do let clients know, okay, this is this stage. This is this stage, so that clients do know what to expect in terms of, are they going to receive documents in the mail? Is there a deadline that they need to be checking in with their attorney? It is very, very important. And our job as attorneys are, of course, to keep our clients well informed of what's coming up, what's expected. We do a lot of refiles, especially for our Chapter 13 cases. We do a lot of refiles, and I think the number one thing I hear from the folks coming in to see us is, my previous attorney didn't tell me when my confirmation date was. They didn't tell me that this document was needed by this date. And, we hear that a lot. So I know that that has to be true in many cases. So I think it's very, very important that your attorneys do keep you notified of important deadlines and, of course, what's expected of you. In bankruptcy, everything is about providing, for example, proof of mortgage payments if you're in a 13, maybe proof of child support payments. You need to make sure your account is current. There are little things that you need to make sure you know when they're due, and if you're even required to be there. So definitely, as attorneys, you do need to expect that we are going to keep you updated, and that you know when important dates are coming up and if anything is needed from you. I think the third thing that you need to expect from your attorney is your attorney needs to be honest. And when I say honest, and I know some people probably laugh when you say attorney and honest in the same sentence, your attorney needs to tell you the truth. And sometimes the truth isn't pretty, and sometimes people don't like to hear the truth. But let me tell you one thing that we see, because again, we refile a lot of cases that have failed. One thing that we see is we'll see the old bait and switch. And what I mean by that is someone has gone into an attorney's office. The attorney has told them, oh yeah, we can do this, we can do that, blah, blah, blah. But in the end, they couldn't do that. But the person has been in their case, they have been making trustee payments, and when the case dismisses, the attorney is going to get some of that money. So even if the attorney knew the case was already set up for failure, they're still going to profit on that. Or they'll just turn around and say, oh, well, sorry, your payment has to go up. You can't keep that asset if you don't want your payment to go up. So it's just a hot mess. And that is a bait and switch. And personally, I would be very ticked off if I went to an attorney and that happened. So, of course, sometimes there are creditor issues. Something could come up. We can't always predict the future. But I will tell you, an experienced bankruptcy attorney can tell you, this is what the trustee, this is what they look for. This is how the judge, views this issue. They should be able to tell you that. Those are pretty basic things, in my opinion, if you're an experienced attorney. So you want to make sure when you go in that your attorney is honest with you, and they tell you, and they give you options. Because, setting someone up to fail, in my opinion, that is malpractice. And, just because the attorney is going to make, a couple of $1,000 maybe, or $100 on a case, even though it's dismissed, you definitely want to make sure that your attorney is telling you, okay, here are the risks. This is what you can do. This is what you can't do, because that's very, very, very important. And I will say, I would say most of our clients, at least, they appreciate being told the truth. And part of that is our job. We're the experts, so we're the ones that are supposed to guide our clients and help them get a fresh financial start. Sometimes we have to say, you're going to have to let that Porsche go if you don't want to pay everyone back in full. And sometimes that's just the truth. So make sure that if you're whenever you're meeting with an attorney, that you get that feel. Check out reviews, see what other clients have said. And I realize sometimes it's hard to kind of wade through the real reviews, fake reviews, things like that. But do your research, because that's really, really, really important, that you have an experienced attorney that's being honest with you and they're really telling you what you can do. Because at the end of the day, our job is to provide you with options. And like I tell my clients, this is your rodeo. It's up to you. You know your life much better than I do. So my job is just to tell you, here are the options. And now you pick an option that you know is going to fit with your life. Because sometimes things just happen, and the reason someone's in bankruptcy is just they had a job loss, but now they have a great job again, and they're fine. It's just they don't want their car to get repossessed or their house to get foreclosed, but they can afford to do a restructure and keep everything. And that's great. I would say that's the majority of our cases, actually. But sometimes, again, you have to have a come to Jesus moment, and you have to say, listen, we need to talk about letting a car go, or sometimes even someone can't afford a house. You need someone to be honest with you and tell you, and also give you some guidance for the future. So, hey, if I go through this bankruptcy, how long is it going to take me to purchase a home again? How long will it take me to get a car again? What do you think is the fastest way to get my credit score back up? These are all very, very important questions that you want to make sure you have an attorney that's honest with you, and they're giving you the best suggestion for you, not the attorney's bank account. And of course, we don't work for free. We have families to feed, we have staff to pay, and we work really hard on cases. So, we do deserve to be paid, of course, but again, you want an attorney that is going to be honest and give you honest options. Well, that's it for now. If you have any questions about bankruptcy or anything else you think pertains to bankruptcy or attorney representation, feel free to shoot me an email below. I'm always happy to answer questions via email, or you can even DM me. I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram and also LinkedIn. And again, I'm always happy to answer any questions.